you don't really know, you can't really know how many people are living in poverty in your day-to-day life. You know, people you pass on the street, sometimes it's obvious and sometimes it's not.
It's right across the street from where you live. It's not like off out in the bush, like in the middle of nowhere. It's right there in your city amongst very wealthy people.
My parents were parents in shifts, you know. I'd see my mom when she got home from work before I went to school, and then I wouldn't see her for the rest of the day. And my dad would be leaving as my mom got in, and I didn't understand that that was a working poor family.
I don't know how old I was, somewhere between like the ages of like 9 and 12, and I remember like seeing my friends with a lot of things. They had, you know, all the latest games, all the latest material goods that any child would want, and I remember thinking that I didn't want to be a Filipino person. I didn't want to be of Filipino ancestry. I wanted to be white.
So I was at primary school. It was coming up to the Harvest Festival. Harvest Festival is where we were told at the end of one class that for the next week we should all bring in some food, which would then be given out to the poor.
I knew we were poor, and it was isolating.
So I took one of the last cans of some peaches, I think, and some peas, and I brought it in and went into the lot with everyone else's food at the festival, and then the next week we had a hamper of food, and in it was the can of peaches and the peas. But I was like, hang on a second, this is for the poor people. No, we're the poor people. I didn't think we were poor, but it turns out we are.
Okay, we're poor. And then it becomes this game of like trying to hide it from people.
You know, you let go of some of your expectations. They're not so high because you don't want to cause a rift, you know, in the family. You want to like make sure that your parents are happy and that you're not creating any more stress because things are already stressful.
My family tried to hide it by limiting who could come over to our house. You know, I wasn't allowed to have friends over, or I wasn't really allowed to go to other people's houses either.
I became more aware of the material advantages, material things that my peer group, the children around me had, and I didn't.
Having two parents who are working, you know, night and day, seeing my parents in shifts, you don't realize that that's what poverty is.
I wanted to have white parents, you know, because I thought that living in a white family would provide more stability, or I would be able to get more of the things that I guess I wasn't able to have.
Looking back, just that word to say like this is unfair, it changed. Just like with my perspective, it's changed. Back then I thought my parents were being unfair, but now I understand that just the situation was unfair.
I had a very rich childhood, you know, but you don't notice that until you get much older. You know, I'm like 33 now, and it's like, oh wow, you know, actually I did have a lot, even when I felt monetarily we didn't have much at all.
So there are hidden gifts, I guess. Like I wouldn't change my upbringing for anything.
It's made me who I am. It's part of who I am, and I pretty much like me.